You know, it always amazes me to hear critics of affirmative action speak about this subject as if racial preference were something that were invented in the 60s to benefit people of color. Because in fact, whether we wish to acknowledge it or not, and of course we don't, the entire history of this country is the history of affirmative action for white folks like myself. And unless we begin by discussing that affirmative action and the impact that it has had, we engage in a discussion that is both ethically and practically irresponsible. Contrary to what Joseph tells you, this debate is about the extent to which racism still exists, because it is indeed the existence of that racism which necessitated affirmative action in the beginning and continues to necessitate it today. Whether we wish to acknowledge it or not, enslavement, Indian genocide, segregation did not only oppress people of color, they elevated white folks and provided us with opportunities that we did not in fact earn. The Homestead Act allowed whites to claim over 270 million acres of land for virtually nothing down, at a time when folks of color could not. Today, there are 40 million white folks descended directly from those who received that land giveaway, millions of them still living on the property. They owe their lives to affirmative action. Then there was the FHA home loan program, which for the first 30 years of its existence operated in a whites-only fashion, lending over $120 billion worth of government-backed housing equity to whites, thereby creating the white middle class. And in large measure, because of those preferences, the typical black college couple, college-degreed couple, starts out with less than 1/5 the net worth of the typical young white couple, because the latter of those has likely received the benefits of their family's prior head start, while the former are likely to have accumulated far less, having had less chance to do so. So against that backdrop, ending affirmative action would only further cement the systemic advantages for whites that have been in place for hundreds of years.
You're going to hear a lot of statistics today. I'm not going to talk to you about statistics. I'm going to talk to you about people, because racial preferences impact and affect people. This past April, spring, my wife was at a birthday party with our children. And the mothers are sitting there talking. If the father's in there, you know that you tend to avoid these things like the plague, so I wasn't there. But the mothers are grouped, and they're talking about their children, where they go to school, and it comes to light that my oldest boy attends a magnet program for highly gifted students. Without missing a beat, one of the other mothers says, well, you know, now with this Supreme Court decision, they won't be able to accept kids in these programs for diversity. Well, my wife was kinder than I would have been. After she picked her jaw up off the floor, she explained to the woman, look, he's not in this program because he checked some box. You can't get in this program unless you score 99.9% on the test. Let me repeat that, 99.9% on the test. And he's making straight A's in this program. And what is more ironic is that the woman she was talking to is a teacher in the Los Angeles Unified School District. That is the evil of racial preferences. That is the real-life impact of racial preferences. Teachers who lack faith in the academic abilities of their students, and children who, no matter how hard they work, no matter how broad their gifts, are stained with preference.